When is the last time a Detroit-Green Bay game late in the year had this kind of a vibe?
As far as where we're at right now, it doesn't get any better than this.
Lions at Lambeau to face the Packers, who make the dance if they win.
When you start to believe something strongly, that some miraculous things can happen.
The Pack, the only ones who control their destiny in the NFC when it comes to unwrapping the last golden playoff ticket.
I'm so proud of you guys. I'm getting really emotional right now.
Lions have to win this one and hope for an upset on the West Coast. Motivation not an issue for either team.
Let's go! Let's go!
Lions, winners of 7 of their last 9. Packers, winners of 4 straight. AA run is cool and all, but most of the credit to Green Bay's run goes to its defense. They haven't allowed more than 20 points during their streak.
The rush is on in a tight pocket. He's hit it sack. Justin Hollins makes the hit.
Detroit's success tied to an offense, 5th in points per game in 2022, so let's get ready to rumble indeed. Detroit showed Chicago what its O-face looks like on tilt last week. 41 points, Jared Goff, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, over 250 yards, a rating near 135. 29 touchdowns against 7 INTs this season, rating of 100.1. What a year.
Got a man out there, caught at the 10, into the end zone, touchdown Detroit Lions!
The challenge he faces this week, like a really good Madden player beating me and then right away having to face a 14-year-old who knows what they're doing. The D Goff faces this time around an entirely different beast. Green Bay's defense absolutely clamped, locked, strapped the mighty Vikings offense last week, picked off Kirk Cousins 3 times.
Rudy Ford with a deep interception.
That's 8 turnovers for the Packers defense in the last 2 weeks.
And then there was the statement by Jair Alexander that likely had cheeseheads out of their chairs screaming, "No, he didn't." Yes, he did. And then, yes, they did. They backed it up by holding Justin Jefferson to 1 catch, 15 yards on 5 targets.
Here we go up top, sideline, and incomplete. Oh, he's got a little gritty next to Jefferson.
This week, Alexander and company face an attack that uses a different recipe. Detroit's top 4 in receiving yards this season, all wideouts. Amon-Ra St. Brown doesn't gritty, so not sure how he'd mock him, but he has over 100 receptions, over 1,100 yards, 6 touchdowns on the season. He's been Goff's go-to.
Touchdown Detroit Lions, Amon-Ra St. Brown!
DJ Chark, though, has also come on strong the last 6 weeks.
Oh, baby, what a grab! DJ Chark.
The battle in the trenches will be big. Goff had all sorts of time versus Chicago. He's had good protection all year. Detroit's line is legit.
End zone touchdown, Detroit Lions, Brock Wright.
They take on a very aggressive pass rush. Green Bay with a plus 30 pressure rate, over 30 is high, and when a blitz rate is over 30, it is too, and theirs is.
He's hit a sack. Preston Smith.
So Goff versus 5+ pass rushers this year, 105.1 rating, 15 touchdowns against 4 INTs, not too shabby.
Got a man wide open, caught, end zone, touchdown Detroit Lions!
Lions' run game, very underrated part of their offense. Keep in mind, they are 11th in rush attempts this year. Last week, Jamal Hinkle McCringleberry Williams, 144 yards, 6.6 yards per carry, another celebration in the paint, and check it out, kept it to 2 thrusts, no flags.
To the end zone, touchdown Detroit Lions!
His partner in crime, DeAndre Swift, 78 yards, 7.1 an attempt, a touchdown. The Lions ran for 265 yards total last week.
Swift inside the 5, end zone, touchdown.
Packers defense versus the run. While they held Dalvin Cook in check, they still gave up some big runs to Alexander Mattison, allowed over 5 yards a run to Minnesota overall, have given up 5 yards per attempt to running backs in 2022.
Saquon bounces outside. Barkley's in for the touchdown.
How Green Bay's own run game fares is also a huge key in this matchup. Aaron Jones, 111 yards, 7.9 yards per carry last week, 5.3 per run for the season now.
Gets a block from Dillon to the end zone for the touchdown.
A.J. Dillon will get his 2. Green Bay ran for 163 yards last week on 4.9 a run, a couple touchdowns.
Gives to Dillon to the left side of the line for the goal line, the end zone for the touchdown.
Detroit's defense, like Green Bay's, isn't strong versus backs either. 4.8 a run allowed to the position.
Plowing right side, touchdown, Zeke.
Unlike Green Bay's defense, though, Detroit's play versus the pass hasn't been good. Rating allowed in the mid-90s, 8 yards per attempt allowed.
He's going to fire right. Yes! KJ Osborne! You're so cold-blooded!
Sure, they did play Justin Fields the passer well, but even a Rodgers with limited weapons is more challenging. Rodgers hasn't thrown for 240 yards in any of the 4 games they've just won. Hasn't had a 100-plus rating, hasn't thrown for 2 TDs in any of the games. He doesn't seem to care. They're winning. He's still there, lurking.
The fact that we came back from 4-8 and put ourselves in a position to make the playoffs is pretty special.
Lions did rack up 7 sacks versus the Bears. Just know Packers' line is significantly stronger than Chicago's. Green Bay quarterbacks have had the luxury of facing pressure just 18.7% of the time. Few teams have been better.
Rodgers throws. Watson, touchdown!
Now, Detroit did beat Green Bay earlier this year. It's what sparked their turnaround. It's a weird one, though. They won 15-9 in Week 9.
Just when it looked like the Packers were going to get back in this thing, he says,
2016, Rodgers versus Stafford, last week of the year, 31-24 Green Bay win. That's the last time Rodgers faced Detroit, with both teams playing for something late. Tell us what happens this time around in the comments section. Include your take on the LA-Seattle game too, since it matters. Scores, please.